And now we will move into one size higher, the Acura TLX, which is sort of based on the same chassis that the Accord is. This is the all-wheel drive model. Again, nice wheels. And it's nice. A couple of years ago, it was introduced to replace the TL and the TSX, and hence the TLX. Get in this thing. Again, it has a very, the display is very much Honda. It's very similar to the one in my family's 2015 Odyssey. Seat is okay. The front part is nice. The seat, the cushion does not adjust independently. It could use maybe a little bit more shoulder support. I figure if I, threw this into a corner, that it wouldn't necessarily hold me in super well. Steering wheel is nice. Nice feeling controls. Again, paddle shifters. My true love. We have an interesting push button shifter here where park is a button, neutral is a button, drive is a button, again, but it's a glossy plastic instead of a matte plastic. And then reverse, you don't press down, you press back because you want to go backwards, I guess. Anyways, sitting behind myself again, 6'1", and oh no, Acura. My knees are well into the back of this seat. My head is touching the roof, and almost none of my legs, except for my butt, is on the seat cushion. What a disappointment. You'd think, because this is bigger than the ILX, it would be better. And it is better, but not good enough. Alright, so this is the CT5-V. This is their sort of BMW 5 Series, 3 Series. It's sort of an in-between sized car. Again, excellent blue color. And the V means it has this twin-turbo V6 with 360 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque, so this thing is going to be fast. Very nice interior. We have this, I don't know if it's real carbon fiber, I'm not sure. Oh, nice. We have this suede lined steering wheel. So you might want driving gloves with this because the oils on your fingers might deteriorate this over time. But hey, it's a V, so that's what it's made for, hard driving. Now you have a shifter that looks like a normal shifter, but given by these arrows, you can tell that this is not a normal shifter. You want to put this into park, you have to actually press a button on here. If you're going to go neutral, it's 1 click. When you go to reverse, 2 clicks. Interesting. We got metal paddle shifters on here. That's nice, very minimalist dash. I like it. The seat feels quite good. I imagine this would be good on long trips. Oh, yes, we have a thigh support adjustment. It's a little bit short, maybe. I don't know if that adjusts out. I don't think so, but very good. Not a ton of shoulder support here, but the bolsters are good in the back. Very small side mirrors. That's probably just for styling, but I wonder how that would, and the rear mirror is also quite small. Let's see how the back seat is. Again, sitting behind 6'1" self. All right, so again, punishment of adjusting the seat so low or that my feet are trapped underneath the seat. Decent legroom. We have about maybe 1.5 inches legroom to the back of the seat, so that's fine. And it does not pass the hair test. Why? I guess in order to pass the hair test, I have to slide back so that my knees actually end up hitting the corner of the seat for my hair to not touch the roof. Again, we have this carbon fiber trim here. It's a nice car. I would buy it, but I would not want to ride in it. I would want to drive it. We are sitting in a 2020 Outback with the 4-cylinder engine. Well, they're both 4 cylinders now. The non-turbocharged engine gets 26 city, 33 highway. This is the limited trim, I believe. Very nice materials, very soft armrests here and here. Very sort of rugged feeling steering wheel. Lots of textured leather on it. Lots of buttons. So probably for lots of automation, looks like a heated steering wheel button. Voice command, active cruise control stuff, paddle shifters, lots going on. You have this large touchscreen, volume knob, and a tuning knob, so that'll make you happy. You have the shifter here, lots of glossy, black, piano black stuff that'll probably get scratched over time, we'll see. Reverse neutral drive for the manual mode for the paddle shifters. Tons of headroom even with the sunroof. Nice commanding view over the road, even though I'm sitting all the way down. You're welcome. And it's just a very nice looking interior. You got this cup holders here. You have this sort of flat space here, or you have this large well. To do the regular car thing, you got this thing, or you got another thing, or you got this thing, or you got another thing, or you got this thing, or you got another thing, or you got this thing, or you got another. Roof rails, you know, you can hold a kayak or any other outdoors utility. Sitting in the back seat, my feet are a little bit smushed by the fact that my seat is all the way down. Legroom is actually not amazing. I don't know if I put the seat where I wanted it, but I thought I did. I have about 2 inches of legroom. It's okay. Passes the hair test, definitely, because the sunroof, the ceiling caves away, so you have tons of room over here. Blind spot, not bad at all. I mean, that is not bad at all. Plus, you'll have a rear view camera. You do have these rear vents, yay. Heated rear seats, you have some power outlets there. It's a very nice car. This one has leather seats, and it's just a very pleasant experience in here. So here is the Outback we were just in. Very aggressive, blacked out rear lights. Works well with this sort of battleship gray color. Lots of plastic molding because, you know, it's not a station wagon anymore. It's an SUV. God dang it. Lots of room in the wheel well. Lots of ground clearance for some mild off-roading. Very aggressive looking wheels. Lots. You know, everything about this car has become more aggressive since 2010. The edgier, you know, hood with more contour lines. There's a contour line going down the side of the car. And you open up the trunk, you know, automatic lifting tailgate. There is a lot of room back here. You fold down the rear seats and you get even more space. Very long, not a ridiculously tall opening, but it is quite tall. Press this button to close it. Head over to the Forester. This is the Crosstrek hybrid, plug-in hybrid. Get an Impreza hatch. Here's the Forester. We'll start from the inside here. This one has cloth seats, so not quite exactly the same, but this is sort of the mid-level trim. It has adjustable thigh support, but the seat stops quite short. It stops here and my leg still goes all the way to there, so it's not amazing. It supports the middle of your leg, but not the front of your leg. Again, similar steering wheel design. You have slightly less rugged leather feel. This might just be fake leather, but still you have all the active safety and infotainment buttons here. It looks like a simpler analog display. Smaller screen. This definitely probably what just comes on a lower trim level. The smaller screen with all these buttons. It does not have a manual mode, so no paddle shifters. But in terms of space, it's a much more boxy experience. You're much more up high feeling, even when the seat all the way down. You just all this glass area. I feel like you're flying it honestly kind of feels like a Cessna 172. It's very up, over, down. It's very boxy, lots of glass area. Even looking in the back, it's very upright, whereas the Outback's a little bit more streamlined. If we get into the back seat, sitting behind myself. Okay, so the legroom I think is actually better than the Outback, maybe. It's hard to tell. I have about maybe 3 inches of legroom here. We have these back seat pockets, again, rear vents, even in the base trim, so that's important, that's awesome. Headroom, it's actually quite good. The sunroof scallops away here, but not quite as intensely as with the Outback. Blind spot is not bad as well. That seems to be a Subaru trait. The seat is, it's kind of plain, it's kind of flat, it's just kind of meh. The seat back is kind of hard. I don't enjoy it that much. It looks like definitely a taller opening, maybe just by a little bit, but the depth is much shorter than the Outback, probably at least a foot shorter. If you fold down the rear seats, again, you'll have tons of room from here all the way to the back of the front seats, but just the trunk area by itself, not that much. Interesting wheel design, very busy. Again, you have lots of creases and folds around the wheel well going up past the door handles. It's a very edgy looking car. You have the Forester name etched into the headlights here. It's a sharp looking car as well.
So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I like to go into my EV here, and it shows here. Pretty cool, huh? All right, my EV.
There we go.
So shows I got 83% charge in the battery. If I go to the next graph, it shows that I got 2 electric motors, one driving the front wheels, one driving the rear wheels.
Okay.
And our 90 kilowatt battery is all under a piece on the floor, but it's got a real low center of gravity. So as I accelerate, 500 here. It's very neutral. There's no body roll.
Oh yeah.
0 to 60 in 4.5. Look at our backup camera here. Back up. Forward, as I press on the accelerator, it's instant torque.
Yep. So I work at a flight school in Manassas. My boss owns a Tesla Model S that he's letting me drive.
There you go.
So
you know.
Yep. It feels like an adult electric go-kart.
Yeah. You know, the amazing thing about it is it doesn't matter whether you're going 25, 30, 50, 70 mile an hour. You go wide open throttle, it's instant torque.
Yep.
Finish line. Jaguar wins again.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Oh, we are now seated in an interesting vehicle, the Toyota Corolla hatchback. Interesting construction here. You have this very weird, just jutting out piece of the dash for no reason. The steering wheel is very narrow, kind of a small diameter. It's sort of medium shaped, lots of easy to reach buttons and controls. Sort of a nice, smooth, slightly textured leather here. You have a large infotainment screen there. Most definitely touchscreen, easy to reach. Again, interesting contours there. You got a normal shifter with your sequential shifting options, as well as some paddle shifters. Very easy to read dash, very simple. Seats are cloth and mechanically adjustable. They're actually not bad. The seat bolsters on the cushion are a little bit narrow, but not too bad. The seat back is quite nice. What's striking me as odd is I turn to the left and I see half of the pillar. So I wish the window went back a little bit further. This would have moved forward a little bit to see out. Let's see how the rear seat is. Alright, we're now in the back seat, and all good things must come to an end. This car, just given its styling, foot room, compromised, leg room, my knees are in the back of the seat. Surprisingly, it almost passes the hair test, but it just barely does not by like a fraction of an inch. It's probably just static electricity, but you know, you raise the roof by a quarter inch and it would be fine. Because of this, just the seat cushion is flat, there's no thigh support, and your knees are into the back of the other seat. It's just sigh. I mean, it's a good looking car. I mean, oh god, I need to. God. You just look at the proportions of this vehicle and you realize how little of the vehicle there is for the cargo space in the rear seat, and you just sort of do the math and you're like, yeah, there's no way that somebody's going to fit comfortably back there, and unfortunately they don't. It is a sweet looking car though, very aggressive front end. It's very compact looking. It has a very nice stance. I like sort of the raise. It looks like it's raised on its back, ready to pounce like a cat. It's just a nice looking car, but hard to fit in it. So I'm sitting in what might be the cutest car at this car show. It's the Fiat 500. And armrest material, not bad. You know, it's kind of plasticky. You have this white plastic stuff everywhere. It has a nice clean look to it, like a shopping mall floor, but it's going to get scratched and dirty almost immediately and get covered in fingerprints. You have a shifter down here with a sequential mode. Steering wheel's not bad. It, you know, has a sort of a generic fake plastic or fake leather sort of rubbery feel where they like literally put half of a wheel together in the middle. It's just kind of in here. The seats themselves, not bad. They are manual adjust, so, you know, there's not a lot of thigh support and you can't really adjust that. They do look nice though, with the, you know, cute circular headrests. You have a nice velvety top here. I was noticing my headroom is awesome, and that's just because there's no roof. I don't know what the headroom is. Maybe the headroom's great, maybe it isn't. There's no real way to tell. On the outside, you have a seat and 2 wheels, and that's the whole car. So there's not a lot here. Your mileage is a 2432. My Mazda 6 gets better mileage than that, and I can seat 4-5 people, and it's reliable and doesn't break, and has more than 135 horsepower. Okay, that's more than I thought. 135, not bad, but all right, if you want to be in a cult, you should be interested in this car, the Jeep Wrangler. I'm in one that has a, I think it's the Rubicon with this interesting teal seafoam color. The interior of this truck, I don't even know what to call it. It's not a car. It's very tight side by side. There's not a lot of room between this armrest and this armrest. Very narrow. I have the seat all the way back, and I just feel like the steering wheel is right in my face. And oh, well, the steering wheel does push in a little bit, so that's better. There's lots of red trim around here, so that's kind of cool. You have your Uconnect system in the center here. Lots of buttons and controls for your HVAC and stuff with this rugged texture on it to remind you that, yes, you are in an all-wheel drive, you know, off-roading style thing, as if the body cladding and the huge knobby tires were not a reminder of that already. Very small gauges. You have your, well, it looks like 2, you know, drive trains here. One is for actually shifting gears with the original 1941 era Jeep emblem on the front here, and this is for your 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive system for off-roading. You have all of your, you know, off-roading controls. A lot of storage space. You have this very interesting textured rubber seats, which, you know, they're not supposed to contour you. They're supposed to, you know, be decent enough for off-roading, and they are. Headroom is fine because, once again, there's no roof, so I have no idea what to even evaluate. You have the Jeep emblem on the front here. Let's go to the back. Once we're in the back, I have this interesting observation that the doors are held together by this, like, fabric material. Oh gosh, that just popped out of the okay, well, don't say anything about that. It's very dark back here, probably just because you have this metal roof that literally it's not, and it's very bare bones back here. It's supposed to make you feel like you're in a military vehicle from, I don't know, say 1941. Leg room is okay, the foot room is fine. My lower part of my shin is actually hitting the base of the chair, which it juts out a little bit. Not amazing. Hair test, of course, is fine because it's a tall-ass vehicle. The textured seats are a little bit, and the seat cushions are incredibly short. Not much thigh support at all. Not very satisfying. Let me get out of here. Large step down, of course, with these huge tires and huge ground clearance. It's a not very easy vehicle to get in and out of. There's no foot rails or anything to help you get in. However, you have these large, you know, door hinges on the outside. This is supposed to look like a very bare bones, rough, rugged, ready to take on the road vehicle. There's nothing elegant, nothing sophisticated about this car. It is raw, it is angry, it is ready to take on some rock trails. Alright, we're now sitting in a Toyota Avalon, which should be the antithesis to the room of a Corolla hatchback. Interestingly enough, they have this strangely shaped corner front vent here. Again, you have this random jutting out of the dash, maybe just to blend in with the door. It just seems unnecessary to me. You have this large glossy black finish that leads up to your infotainment display. A lot of small buttons here for your HVAC controls. Not horrible. Could be better, could be worse. You have a power knob and a tuning, what was a tuning knob there. Somebody has that at home now. We have a lot of storage space here. We have leather seats. We have a normal shifter with sequential options, as well as paddle shifters. Everything has paddle shifters. Now, if the Toyota Corolla hatchback had good room in the front, but none in the rear, this is disappointing. Now this car has a sunroof, and as we know, sunroofs eat up headroom, and my hair is brushing up against this, and it makes me sad. So it does not pass the hair test in the front seat with the seat all the way down. There's no point in testing the rear seats if I'm not going to sit in the front. So let's just take a look at the outside. And you know, I think they could have just added a little more grille. The grille just wasn't quite big enough. It's a little underwhelming, you know? And actually, if you look up close here, you'll notice that the grille is only a grille from here up and from here down. All of this, there's no air getting into there, and there's absolutely no air getting into back there. It's just all plastic backing all the way through here. And yeah, nice looking wheels. You have some body cladding, some nice side molding here, nice shape to the windows with a nice little black lip spoiler. Nice aggressive sort of dagger edges there with the Avalon badge across the rear lights in that black trim. This is the Touring. You get a quad exhaust, quite nice. And that's the Avalon. If you've ever been to a Whole Foods, and then you walked outside the Whole Foods and walked into the parking lot, you've probably seen about 743 of these within the past week. This is a Toyota Prius, the staple, the epitome of hybrid cars. This is what you think of when you think of the word when you say the word hybrid. You have a very small, thin steering wheel with a very smooth leather texture to it. A lot of you know, shiny, glossy black buttons here for your infotainment and your cruise control. Nice two-tone color dash here. Hard plastics though, slightly padded on the armrest, which is nice. You also have a nice cubby hole here. Seat heaters. It looks like a charging pad, which is nice. Your shifter is here for some reason, and the knob has been taken off, but it's definitely monostable, just the way that it's working. So that's weird. And your park button is there. You have your infotainment screen here. Your speedometer and your battery information is going to be on this display off to the side here. So when you're driving, you look straight up. Speedometer's off to the side. It's comfortable in here. The seat is rather cushy. It's a leather seat, but it's manual adjusted. Could use a little bit more thigh support. There is no thigh adjustment, unfortunately. And let's take a look at the back seat. All right, we're now in the back seat of the Prius, and it's not bad. My feet are just slightly compressed by the seat in front of me. I am just on the border of having sufficient knee room. It's good enough. It does not pass the hair test by about half an inch or so. Even though the ceiling kind of curls up, it slants back in such a way that it just really cuts off your headroom. And look at this window line. It's hard to see out. You have this split window back here. It's kind of generous, but you have a decent blind spot here. Not a ton of room to see out. Very narrow window. It's not bad, but you'll get amazing fuel mileage in this thing. So if you're ever at Whole Foods and you need a car, you can just probably break into one of the 8,000 sitting in the parking lot. We are now in the Chevy Sonic RS, so this is the sporty version of it. First thing I noticed when I got into the car is the handle that I used to close the door is this shiny black piano thing with, you can feel the seams on it, and it just felt very cheap and wobbly, so that was annoying. This car does have a very, you know, this hard plastics all over the place. Steering wheel's nice, has some orange stitching over. That's what the RS gives you, is a lot of orange stitching, and these RS suede parts on the seats. You have very easy to use HVAC controls. They have a solid feel, but again, they sort of wobble around, so speedometer in the TAC is very simple. You have your Chevy Link or whatever it's called infotainment system here. A lot of glossy stuff. You get your fingerprints all over. The seat is not bad at all with thigh support, thigh adjustment, which I go crazy for. It's like catnip for me. The seat is actually pretty good. The only thing I'd complain about is there's the little bolstering sort of right up in here is a little aggressive for my taste. Nice looking headlights. You have this sort of burnt orange color, blacked out wheels. And my favorite part of this car is definitely the back. I like the look of the taillights. Very aggressive, solid, stout looking car. The problem comes when you open the rear door, which is an interesting hidden door handle up here. You know when the door isn't a complete door, that it's hiding something it doesn't want to show you back there. And the thing it's not wanting to show you is the fact that this seat is not suitable for people with normal sized limbs. My legs are shoved into the back of the seat. It actually hilariously passes the hair test, no problem. My feet are trapped a little bit under the seat here. Again, very cheap feeling door handle. This little piece right here, it is it's Lego plasticky. And you have a little bit of cargo space back there, but gosh, if you own this car, you better only be driving it with one other person in the front and like a small sized dog in the back at the most. Hello, and ignore the beeping. We are in a Lexus GS F Sport edition. F Sport gives you this nice cherry red leather package, probably some firmer suspension. The seat is incredibly nice. Good thigh support, good bolstering. It's not excessive. It's not really sports car level, but it's there. Nice steering wheel, perforated leather here with a nice grippy texture. It compresses a little bit so you can grab onto it and just through a turn. You have a conventional shifter here without the knob. We have nicely sculpted paddle shifters that fit your fingers quite well. Lots of buttons, lots of HVAC buttons, and your screen controller is up here, organized through this little mouse thing, which, oh god, that's probably a disaster on the road. But it's very nice in here. You have this sort of diamonded plastic trim, nice touch points, a button that's not a button, and let's see how the back seat is. We're in the back of the GS, and foot room is tight. That doesn't exist much. The back of the seat is sculpted right where your legs should go, and I have about ½ an inch of clearance to those. The back seat is not bad. Thigh support is better than some. I wish it was still a little bit longer though. That could have been great. It barely does not pass the hair test. The hair is brushing right along the back of the bridge there, and even though if I lean forward it's fine because it's sculpted out here, but then it goes back, and so it's nice back here. It's a nice car. It's roomy. There's vents there. I'm sure this would be fine on a long trip, but it doesn't pass the hair test, and the leg room is barely there. All right, we are now in a Lexus IS F Sport. This is the smallest car that Lexus makes. It's a very aggressively styled car. You have this sort of stainless steel texture along here. Nicely sculpted paddle shifters, perforated leather with some slight cushioning for you to grab onto the wheel and throw it into a corner. You can tell that it's going to be a digital display, a touchscreen up here that is operated again through this stupid mouse thing that in a moving car going over speed bumps and potholes, that's going to work. Your HVAC controls over here. Nicely styled steering wheel. The seat is a bit on the firm side, but it adjusts in any way that you want. It has thigh support. The bolsters are good. They hold you in quite well. It's a little bit tight right in the center though. Maybe I need to get in shape. You have a push button start. Now here's the problem with this car. There is a few things. One, when you turn to the left, boom, pillar, so you have to sort of look forward. And then here's the biggie. This is an all-wheel drive car. They needed to put some extra componentry underneath the car to make it all-wheel drive. And since this is Lexus, this is Toyota, this is a Japanese product, in Japan, the drivers sit on this side, which means that this side is the lesser priority there. So, oh, by the way, look, buttons that aren't buttons. The all-wheel drive required some extra componentry, and they're like, well, we need to put in this hump. And so they added a hump into the floor on the passenger side in Japan, not realizing that it would be on the driver's side in the US, and this hump is right in the way of the gas pedal. So when you get in and you're putting your foot there, you have to reach over the hump to get to the gas pedal. So that's kind of odd, isn't it? So now let me readjust my seat back to where it was, and let's check out the rear seat. right. Lexus IS. IS stands for is stupid, because the footroom is amongst the worst of all the cars at the car show this year. Knee room, I'm slamming into the back of the seat here, and it certainly does not pass the hair test. Almost doesn't even pass the head test. It's that bad. So, yeah, this car has problems. And also, you look back here, it's just a very narrow bit of window to look through. This is very cramped. You don't want to spend a long time back here. Almost no thigh support. Yeah, don't get an IS.